I am starting recording, guys, to be able to put this on YouTube. Okay. Now you can see it, I guess, right? Related and unrelated diversification. Okay, what are those? We mentioned about some types of strategies last week. What kind of strategies are that? Some growth strategies, right? How companies grow their businesses. And we talk about normal growth strategies like investing, opening up new stores, these kind of strategies. And also we talk about diversification. Diversification means doing something not in the core of your mission, right? Not in the core of your original missions. So there are two types of diversification in the literature. One is related diversification. I mean, diversifying the businesses that you are familiar with, not that much, for example, unrelated businesses. Like, for example, you are producing automobiles, okay? And you decided to also produce trucks, or you decided to also produce buses. I mean, normally you don't do them, but you decided to do that. I mean, it's a related diversification of your product line. Or you are you are a technological company, you are producing some technological material, and you also want to invest in businesses related to the technology, right? But you didn't do it before. This is the main idea here in related diversification. You want to capture some strategic fitness, which can give you 1 + 1 = 3 phenomena, synergy phenomena, okay? If you can use your resources, your abilities and existing abilities into a new business very effectively, you can have a competitive advantage here. So the appeal of it here to have strong competitive capabilities and to have competitive advantage, transferring your skills from one business to other business, okay? If this business is related to you, you can transfer your knowledge to them, okay? I mean, let's say you are producing some foods. I mean, you have a factory, you are producing some food material, and you want to also open up a restaurant chain then. I mean, and you think that you can use your own food productions to sell them in the restaurants, okay? So it's a related diversification actually. Normally it's not your business to run restaurants, but you produce the raw material, you produce the products, right? The foods. So you transfer your knowledge to the new restaurant. And here your focus is economies of scope. In the next slide I will explain it, economies of scope. What does that mean? What about unrelated diversification? There is no relation between the new job and your existing job, okay? No strategic fit, no meaningful value chain relation. I mean, you cannot use it. For example, the same example, you are a food producer, but you invest in finance sector. I mean, very unrelated, right? But why you are doing something like that? Because you focus on profitability here. I mean, you want to invest in profitable businesses, whether it is related to you or not. The concerns are more financial here, okay? Go to any business that you can make profits. And by this way, you want to distribute your business risk over different industries, right? I mean, focusing on the food industry, let's say, is you may think that it's risky, but I can diversify my risks by investing in other kind of industries. And also, your focus is on stability of profits. I mean, you want more profits. Your motivation is profits, not strategic fitness, not synergy, not strategic fitness. Yes, related diversification is strategically driven. Unrelated diversification is financially driven. So what is economies of scope then? Do you remember what was economies of scale means? Any one of you can explain me? Economies of scale. It's a very famous concept, very basic concept in management underground, right? Economies of scale. What does that mean? None of you? Can you hear me? Beni duyuyor musunuz arkadaşlar?
Evet hocam.
Tamam. Economies of scale bilen yok mu? Economies of scale'i. Nasıl mezun oldunuz siz?
As I remember, when cost decreases, profit increases, like that.
Not exactly like that. Okay, Google it, someone, and tell it to me. Economies of scale, what is it? You are graduate people in management departments, please. You need to know that. What's the economies of scale? Okay. Economies of scale means that when you increase the number of production units, okay, your cost per unit decreases. What does that mean? I mean, you have a factory, you are producing, let's say, 1,000 units of production, okay? For 1 unit of production, you have a cost of $1, let's say, in 1,000 units of production. But when you increase your production to 2,000, okay, your cost per unit decrease to, let's say, 50 cents. Okay, this is what we call economies of scale. When you produce something more, you can produce it more cost effectively, right? Did you remember it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, İşletme. What's the economies of scope then? Economies of scope is something different than to that. I mean, when you invest in a new business line, if we can transfer some knowledge from one of the business chain activities of yours to other business, right? This is called economies of scope. What do we mean by that? For example, this is value chain activities, right? Purchases from suppliers, technology, operations, sales and marketing, distribution and service. Let's say you can use the same distribution and service channel in the new businesses that you invested. Okay, you don't need to establish the new distribution and service channel. This is what we call synergy, right? For example, think about BIM. BIM have a distribution and service channel, and BIM decided to open up restaurant chains, let's say. And can they use the same distribution channels, same service channels? I mean, do they have the ability to use their trucks, okay, existing trucks, existing channels to distribute their foods and products? Yes, right? They can use it. So this is what we call economies of scope, because the total cost decreases then, because you are using the same value chain for different businesses. You can do it in technology as well. You have a technological competency, let's say, and invest in a new business, and you use that, your engineers, your technological capacity, R&D, operations, everything you can use together, okay? So it gives you the ability to eliminate the costs by operating 2 or more businesses together under the same umbrella. I mean, for example, if someone from zero who wants to do that business, they need to invest all of these separately, right? But since BIM is doing that, I mean, they are using their existing channels very easily, very cheaply. Okay, are we clear on that? Economies of scope. But how does it provide us a cost-saving opportunity? Okay. Competitive advantage. do we mean by competitive advantage? It means that you are doing something better than your rivals. Okay, it is what competitive advantage is, and it is what is the core of strategic management. Okay, competitive advantage. So you can transfer your expertise, your capabilities, your technology, your know-how from one of your business to other. This is how you outperform other rivals, because they cannot do it as easy as yourself. Okay. So you can combine your activities in some single operations and reduce your costs. You can share your facilities, resources. This is what we meant by economies of scope. You transfer your brand name reputation. This is a leverage that we call. It's a leverage. I mean, for example, you want to go into a new industry, okay? But if you have a really huge brand name, okay, people more trust you, and people customers easily accept you. Like, for example, you want to, let's say, open up a supermarket chain, online supermarket chain, online marketing, okay, online selling the market goods, food products. For example, if you are a famous company like Ülker or like Koç, Sabancı, I mean, if you can put your name, put one of your brands on that, okay, use that. I mean, people more trust you, right? I mean, okay, this big company is doing that, so I can trust them. They can assure the quality, they can assure the performance, right? This kind of thing. This is what we call the leverage, a well-known brand name. You can create new resources faster and cheaper than your rivals.
Evet. I have a question before slide.
Okay. Burada mı? Here.
How it can be possible, competitive advantage to transfer active capability, technological know-how? Because I guess, for example, we look at the Tesla Motors. Tesla Motors source is open. Okay, we can reach your technology capabilities, etc. But if they prefer the closed source, and if they didn't share your formulate, we didn't know. So how it can be possible?
Actually, we are talking here one company, one corporation having different businesses. We don't talk about different companies, different businesses. In this lecture, we talk about corporate level strategies. If you have more than one businesses in your portfolio, I mean, Tesla is doing that, okay? Tesla is investing in a new business, let's say. How Tesla can make use of his existing knowledge, his existing technology, his existing know-how in its new businesses, okay?
Okay, I understand.
This is not something we are doing in a competitive industrial environment. Generally, big corporations, this is corporate governance lecture, by the way, corporate strategies. So this is, the corporates have many businesses together, okay, not only one. Think about Sabancı Holding, Koç Holding. So they are actually making many different businesses in many diverse industries, right? For example, Koç have investments in production, have investments in markets, supermarkets, banking, services, all of these stuff together they are thinking. And if they think that, okay, can I use my know-how on, let's say, banking industry, on helping another industry that I am on, okay, can I make synergies out of it? This is how, okay, the main idea works.
Okay, I understand. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Yes, it's a very good question, because maybe we just continue from the previous lecture and they didn't mention that it's the corporate level strategies. And there are some combination of these related and unrelated diversification strategies. For example, if some company, a major core business accounting more than 50% of the revenues, it means that there's a dominant business firm in that corporation, right? I mean, let's say the banking industry consists of 50% of your income. So it's a dominant business firm. In some portfolios, in some corporates, narrowly diversified firms, so a few 2 to 5 related and unrelated businesses you have. Sometimes you can have broadly diversified teams, number of wide collection of firms, mixtures, and sometimes you have multi-businesses, several unrelated groups of related businesses you can have. I mean, these are definitions. What about unrelated diversification? Why these are risky? Okay, there could be some drawbacks on that because the managerial requirements demanded a lot. Okay, and limited competitive advantage potential. It's unrelated to you. Okay, I mean, these are you invest in a new sector, but it is risky. You don't know the sector. You cannot create synergies. You cannot create economies of scope, and you need to be able to manage this new business. It's very different. You don't know the culture. You don't know the industry. You don't know how does things work, right? So your risk to be failed is more than a related diversification. So when to diversify? When doing that? So if we can see this graph here, this table here, when market share and market growth rate we triggered. If market share is huge, is big, is high, and market growth rate is low, it means that you have a strong competitive position. You don't need to move. You don't need to diversify because you dominate the market. But if your market share is low and market growth rate low, so diversification could be a top priority, okay? Because there is a strong competition here and low market growth here, and you need to diversify to make more profits. It's because you have a little share here. If you have a weak competitive position, okay, and a rapid market growth, so it's not a good time to diversify as well, because you need to first cover up your own business right here. You have a weak competitive position here. And here, weak competitive, slow market growth. Again, diversify that business. Here, you need to focus on the existing business because market is growing. You can have good shares here. But here, slow market growth and your competitive position is weak. Diversify. Okay, these are, we don't need to go in that details. Okay, let's look at that. Okay, we ended growth strategies. Okay, we generally have three directional strategies. A corporate strategy is divided into three. Directional strategies, the overall orientation of the firm, whether it's growth, being stable, or retrenchment, okay? And then portfolio and parenting strategies we have. Now, we finished the growth strategies and directional strategies, okay? The growth strategy could be concentration strategy, concentrating in your own existing business, or diversification strategy, changing your business industry, changing your business sector. And now we move on stability strategies, okay? Pausing, proceeding with the caution strategy. I mean, this exists in major markets. If you have a good position in the market, you want to protect that position. You don't have a chance to grow your business, so you need to keep your position, a defensive strategy here, okay? The no change strategy, you don't do nothing, you just continue your operations. And profit strategy, making the profits because you have a good position, you take that position, and you are making good profits, you don't want to lose it. And lastly, retrenchment strategies, used when a firm is weak, in competitive terms, and some poor performance if they have. What can you do? You can bankrupt, you can sell out, you can restructure your businesses. When do you need to retrench, right? For example, you diversify too much, you cannot control all of the businesses, and you have some difficulty on making profits in some businesses, and market conditions are worse, are not effective.
Hocam,
yes.
Again, I have a question.
Evet.
First slide.
Okay. Evet.
When we look at this shape, a profit strategy gives us profits, but when we look at the growth strategy and unrelated parts, we said that It gives us profitability, stable profits. What is the differences each others?
Okay, in the profit strategy, you are making good profit on your some business line. You want to keep it, okay? I mean, let's say you have a good market position. You established your position very good, and you are making good profits. You continue to that. You don't invest anything more. But in growth strategies, you invest to new businesses, okay? Whether it is related or unrelated to you. Okay. So in unrelated conglomerate diversification, your main motive to make profits. How? To investing in profitable industries. Okay, let's say it's very unrelated to you. Let's say finance industry, banking industry. It's very unrelated to you. This is not something that you do before, but you see that the profitability rate is very much more than your existing businesses. So this is why you want to diversify in that business. This is what the profitability mentality was. I mentioned in that it was that. Okay, the profitability of the industry. But in the profit strategy, you have already have a business having creating profits for you. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Welcome. Okay, why do you want to retrench your strategies? A misfit, a lack of fit in terms of strategic terms. Strategic, sometimes we talk about economies of scope, right? Sometimes you cannot do that, for example. You invest in a new business, but you cannot do it, so you want to get rid of that. Or cultural problems, or profits are too small. And a business is a cash dog. What does that cash dog means? We will talk about this later. You remember industrial life cycle, right? Every industry has a phase, emerging, maturing, and declining phase. If it's an emerging, if the industry is in the emerging phase, you can apply growth strategies. If you have a mature industry, you need to apply stability strategies. Why? Because there is no more potential to enlarge the market, right? No growth in the market. So you want to control and protect your position, not to grow. And in the declining sectors, you may want to get rid of that business. Okay. Portfolio analysis, portfolio strategy. We use all of these businesses, okay, that's a corporate control, as a financial portfolio, as a stock market, okay. Which one to support, which one to not support, which one your money should be put, which one not. This is a very famous matrix, BCG matrix. For example, there are businesses, some growth rate is very high, and their market share, relative position is here. If the growth rate is very high, and your relative position, market share is also high, you need to invest in that market. It's a star for you, right? But if business growth rate is low and your position is high, you have a good market share, it's a cow for you. It's a profit strategy for you. I mean, you just take the milks of the cow, right? You just take the dollars out of that cow because you are making profit in that business. I mean, you don't need to invest too much, but you are enjoying profits. What's the cash dog here? The market share is low and business growth is low. So always this business line is demanding money from you. You need to invest more business. You need to invest more money to continue, to keep that continue. So just get rid of these cash dogs, okay? Because these businesses are forcing you to lose money. And some question marks here. Market share is low, but business growth rate is high. I mean, why is the question mark? Because it's not sure that you will have a good market position here. There could be competition, there could be other rivals, but you can select some businesses and invest in here as well, okay? This is BCG matrix with a portfolio mentality. A portfolio means in finance, you heard it a lot, you have a money, right? You want to invest in some different stocks, for example, in Borsa Istanbul. You just choose some stocks, but you don't put all your money in one stock, but you distribute them, maybe tens of stocks, right? Similarly, a corporation also is businesses like that as a portfolio. Generally, in the industrial life cycle, these BCG things can be called like that. For example, question mark here. It's an emerging market, but very big question whether it's a success or not. A star is emerging, and in that phase, a mature, a cash cow, you just learn your money, make your profits. And a declining industry, you just get rid of that, liquidate that businesses. Liquidating means selling out that businesses. This is a very similar representation of it. Just you add your market share for all the positions, industrial effectiveness and business strength competitive position. For example, for each of these places, you have a market share in your businesses. Business A, you have a market share of this, business B like this. So you can make a comparison regarding your market shares, okay? This is some other representation of it. These are not very details. I'm just moving on. Yes, this is advantage of portfolio analysis. What is that? You set objectives. You focus on cash flow availability. I mean, you focus on the profitability of each businesses. But sometimes it's very difficult to define these segments, right? How do you decide whether it's a cash dog or cash cow or star, right? Sometimes you may think that it's a very profitable business, profitable industry, but the industry may be not that profitable as well, right? I mean, not standard at times. And value-laden terms such as cash cow and dog can lead to self-fulfilling prophecies. They could be wrong. They could be wrong. Who decides it's a cash dog? Who decides the cash cow? So difficult to decide that whether an industry is that attractive or less attractive, right? These are blue. What else we can? The main idea here actually is creating some synergies. Okay, I mean, having your corporation, making them more profitable, getting rid of problematic areas and investing in more profitable businesses, and making your existing businesses better. The last one, parenting. Parenting is somehow similar to portfolio, but in these terms, in this mentality, the corporations treat their businesses like a parent, like coordinating their businesses, okay? Developing and sharing their resources, transferring their resources, trying to create some synergies, some strategic benefits, strategic fits, economies of scope. I mean, corporations try to do that at the top of all that businesses. They focus on the core competencies and create value out of that, okay? A portfolio analysis asks how much of your time and money should be spent of the best products and units, or on developing new costly products, which one never be successful, how can we get rid of it? A parenting strategy, what businesses should we own and why, which products businesses to invest in and which business to exit from, how to generate synergies across business units. Actually, they are more or less very similar to each other. However, the portfolio analysis is, in portfolio analysis, headquarter means the corporation, the CEOs, the top management team, act like an internal banker, okay? Headquarter in parenting strategy act like a coordinator. I mean, motivate the businesses to create synergies, okay? Bringing them together, creating strategies to make a connection between the businesses. Okay, these are not that important. Yes, lastly, this is the general summary of the corporate strategies, okay? Any questions?
Thank you hocam.
Ben teşekkür ederim arkadaşlar. Thank you
Hocam.